So how do you overcome the effects of an abusive parent? Hey guys, John here. I'm sitting here in my studio with my cup of coffee this morning. Coffee time. I'm here in the studio and I'm about to answer a question that I came in a while ago, but I wanted to answer it because it really, I think, can help a lot of other people in their personal lives. So let me just read the question and then I will answer it. She says, I have a question that I hope is not too personal to answer. I appreciate your caring in the way you phrased this question. You have shared your relationship with your late father and how you were mentally and physically abused. Have you been able to reconcile who he was with what you believe he might be on the other side? Peace and love to that little boy. I love this question for lots of reasons because there are a lot of people in this world who live as a victim to their past, to live as a victim to the experiences of their life, and as a victim to those people who treated them poorly. Now, as a parent, my father was supposed to represent the unconditional love of a parent, and he just didn't. He just did not do that. And when it comes down to the abuse that I dealt with, it was very much a part of my personal growth now. But there comes a point in your life where you have to kind of delineate your life. You know, there's nothing in your past that's changeable. It is. That's the way it was. That's the way it is. That's the past. The future is not a place that you'll ever experience. The future is just a place where you set goals, but your present moment is the only moment you'll ever experience. When it came to my father, there was a very specific thing I had to do for myself. I had to say that was that part of my life. That was that part of my life. Oftentimes you'll hear me talk about the idea of being the author of your life. Well, as an author, you get to put a period at the end of each chapter. And when you put that period at the end of that chapter no longer has to continue affecting the chapters that follow. You can easily take a story that's been tragic and turn it into a comedy or an adventure story. You can easily do that because it's simply choice. You know, your world is a product of your belief, and if you believe you're a victim of your past, then you are reliving and rehashing that past. It's got to come to the point where you realize that you have the ability to control your experience. And the way you do that is to let go of the things. I think one of the most damaging sciences out there is psychotherapy, because I think that they spend all that time rehashing the past. And they say that, well, if we don't resolve it, well, you can resolve it in many ways. You can go back and rehash it. If it works for you, great. What worked for me was saying that was that part of my life. And now a psychotherapist would tell me that I'm bottling up all that stuff. No, I'm not. I'm just releasing it. As the Buddha would say, I'm releasing attachment to it. I'm setting myself into a place where I'm realizing that I am the creator of my experience. And by being the creator of my experience, no matter what experience I had in the past, on some level, I must have created something, right? It's on some level. Now, when you look at my particular relationship with my father, I was a weird kid. I mean, I had imaginary friends I was talking to. My brothers told me about my out-of-body experiences. You know, I crucified my G.I. Joe in the backyard. I was a weird kid. My father was a blue-collar plumber. You know, the weird kid is the odd man out. He's the one that is unliked and is not treated well. And that's okay. I mean, it's not okay in the regards to what he did. I don't have to like what he did. I don't have to like him. But I have to understand him enough to realize that he was also an alcoholic. And his father was an alcoholic. And they were both abusers. So my father was doing the best he could with what he knew. He didn't know any better. He was just lost in his own victimhood. Well, I'm not a victim. And I am, God's name, not a victim. I'm empowered. You know, my son hears how much I love him every day. my son has grown up to be a fine young man. And to give an interesting story about what a fine young man my son really is, he's 19 years old, and he was going to a bachelor party, and he asked me to give him a ride, so I drove him to the bachelor party. I said, just give me a call, whatever time you guys get done, just give me a call, I'll come pick you up. I said, great. So I go, and I pick him up at 2 o'clock in the morning. We're driving home, and he says, Dad, I have to tell you something. I go, yeah? He says, I just want you to know that there was alcohol at that party, but I did not drink any of it. I said, thank you for telling me that. I said, I trust you. You're a fine young man. I think you have a level head on your shoulders, and I think you'll do what's right. So I trust you. My father never would have said that to me. So to reconcile my past with my father, I learned from it enough to say, I'm never doing that with my child. I'm empowering my child. My child had that response because he understood he can make his own choices. He understood what he can do. He understood what he believed was right and wrong, and I trust his growth and his ability to be the fine man that he is. But I don't think I could have done that without having the abusive father that I had, because without that abuse, without that vitriolic anger thrown at me, I could not have the thing to compare to. I know that I'm never giving my son the experience that I had. But my father didn't do that. My father gave me the same experience his father gave him, right? Because he was living in the life of a victim, and I was living the life of empowerment. I was living the life of knowing that I myself am the creator of my own experience, and that my son will never have to deal with the things that I did, because I put a period at the end of that chapter. I've told the story on this channel before about how there's this one psychic medium who my sisters have been going to. My mom keeps coming through. Well, one time I got a phone call from my sister. She said, I just saw Deanna Fitzpatrick again. She says, and Dad came through. And Dad came through and apologized to you for what he had done, for now he understands. Now he knows. And I know that. I know that the second he crossed over, he felt every pain that he caused. He felt every scary moment, every painful moment. He experienced it not only from his point of view, but from my point of view. He's already done his penance in crossing over. Not that we ever need penance per se. It's just experience. He crossed over and realized how much he wasn't loving, how much he wasn't caring, how much of a narcissist he was, and how much of a abusive personality he was. And all of those things, he came through a medium to apologize to me. And that to me is important, because it's like, I know when he crossed over, he found full awareness of his life and all the effects it had. I don't need to be attached, because it's only in the physical world that you can be a victim. Because on the other side, you have understanding. Here in the physical world, you are having these experiences so that you can experience your separation from love, separation from God. And those experiences show you that harmful thing, those terrible things. But people will live their life as a victim. I get messages every day, people listing all the things that they're victims of. And I'm like, okay, you've told me all these things. What are you doing now? So to go back to your question, have I been able to reconcile who he was with what you believe he might be on the other side? I absolutely not only reconciled it, but I am grateful for the experience that I've had. Because had I not had that experience, I could never be the father I am to my son, and I could never, ever have experienced the love that I feel now without feeling the opposite. It really comes down to you acknowledging that you have power, that you are not a victim of past experience. And in reality, if you've been abused, That's their life intruding on yours. And if you're an adult and you're still suffering from abuse from childhood, remember you can say that that's that part of my life. In this part of my life, I'm empowered, and I am not doing the things that they did to anyone else. I am being love. I am living in this moment. I am expressing myself to the world in positive ways. They were who they were, and I understand that they were there. I don't have to like them. I don't have to like what they did, but I can love them enough to know that they were flawed, and their flaws affected my life in certain ways. But those effects are the things that allow me to experience God fully. So I'm grateful for my father, and I am very comfortable in that relationship, even though he's gone, because it was just a part of the experience. If you can come to the place of releasing your past that's filled with traumas and go, okay, that part of my life is done. This part of my life, I am doing this. And redirect. Every moment is a moment of possibility. No matter what your past was, no matter what your abusive parent was, it's a moment of possibility. And you have the ability to go, okay, I am creating. Or you have the moment of living, I am suffering. And the difference is you're living their life and not your own. Put a period at the end of that chapter and start writing something new. You guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. See ya.